You probably heard about the catastrophe that hit Japan. First the earthquake, then the tsunami with the big tidal waves that washed away entire villages, and finally the breakdown of the Fukushima nuclear plant. For those of my viewers living in Japan, my heart goes out to all of you, and I hope that all of you will make it safe and sound through this whole ordeal. With that being said, you might wonder what this topic has to do with bodybuilding, fitness, nutrition and all the topics related. Well, you might have noticed that in the last couple of days a lot of people are looking into buying potassium iodide tablets to protect themselves from radioactive fallout possibly coming in from Japan and hitting them. So that's our topic today, if you need these potassium iodide tablets or if you can actually hurt yourself by taking them. And to discuss this, we first have to put in a bit of background information, and that is what happens when a nuclear reactor breaks down. When this happens, a lot of radioactive material is set off in the atmosphere, and among that material are two radioactive elements called iodine 131 and iodine 133. Iodine by itself is not harmful to your body. In fact, you need it for your thyroid to function normally, and your thyroid regulates the hormones in your body. The problem is your thyroid can't distinguish between iodine that is radioactive and iodine that is non-radioactive, and if you inhale radioactive iodine, it will get stored in your thyroid, and radioactive iodine can lead to thyroid cancer. And to prevent this, in the wake of nuclear catastrophes, government agencies usually give out very highly dosed potassium iodide tablets so that the people living in the vicinity of the catastrophe have thyroids that are filled to the rim with iodine, and their thyroids won't take in the radioactive iodine. Now all this sounds like you are better off by taking some potassium iodide tablets just in case some of those winds come over from Japan and hit you. But at this point we have to discuss another factor that plays an important role in radioactivity, and that is Half-Life. You might know the game, but we talk about Half-Life as in radioactivity. Half-Life means the time needed for half the radioactive material in an element to break down. And the half-life time for iodine 131 is 8 days, and for iodine 133 it's 1 day. Which means that iodine 133 will lose its radioactivity quite fast. The iodine 131 has 8 days, and if you now consider how far away Japan is, for example, from the US West Coast, then you can probably imagine that a lot of the radioactivity contained in the iodine 131 will already have been lost before it reaches the US West Coast, not to mention the Middle West or even the East Coast. Or if you are in Europe, Germany, France, or Great Britain, or wherever you are. And the other thing is, not only is the half-life time of these two forms of radioactive iodine rather low, what also happens is that the winds, the atmosphere will disperse this radioactive material, and the iodine in it, the load of it in it that is in the winds will become a lot thinner. If you then take, for example, the people of Tokyo, who live just 500 kilometers or 400 miles away from the Fukushima plant, and if the wind from Fukushima blows in the direction of Tokyo, the wind might travel those 400 miles or 500 kilometers quite fast, and when it hits Tokyo with the radioactive iodine, the iodine probably has not lost yet a lot of its radioactive load, and the people of Tokyo are well advised to protect their thyroids by high doses of potassium iodide. Last but not least, we also have to talk about the possible side effects of supplementing large doses of iodine. It is true that very small amounts of it are needed in your diet for your thyroid to function normally, but when you supplement a lot of it, then you might experience some rather unpleasant side effects. Among these are that your thyroid can enlarge in yourself, that the entire hormone household of your body can become messed up. You might experience problems with your heart rhythm, nausea, dizziness, or allergic reactions up to death. So if you aren't in the vicinity of a nuclear catastrophe where the radioactive kinds of iodine are still active, you might actually endanger yourself by supplementing with large doses of potassium iodide tablets. These tablets only make sense for those people that live in the vicinity of these catastrophes, where the risks of this much supplementation are outweighed by the risk of radioactive contamination. So, to summarize, radioactive iodine doesn't stay radioactive for a very long time, so it only really makes sense for people living in the vicinity of a nuclear catastrophe where the radioactive iodine is still active to take potassium iodide tablets. For everyone else, supplementing large doses of potassium iodide can actually be a danger to their health itself. I hope that this video cleared things up for you a little and eased your mind about this whole catastrophe a bit. Again, to my viewers in Japan, I wish all the best. Thanks for watching. Until next time, bye bye.